the start of April I want this up. So like the 2nd of April I think it will be up. I'll have had my poll up on the community page for a while for my 10k special, so I'll probably know by the time I'm posting this what one you guys want me to film. I think at the minute it's looking like a gameplay video, which I'm all for. I love that. But I do need to figure out how to actually do that. So please be patient. I want it to be a good video, obviously, because it's a special. So I don't want to just half-arse it. So I'm just gonna get into the video, and I hope you guys enjoy. So the first book I read of the month was A Court of Silver Flames. No. Let me tell you guys, I saw this book everywhere before I started reading ACOTAR, and this was the one that was always popping up online, everyone was raving about. At least that's all that I saw. I didn't realise that this was like the kind of controversial mixed opinions book until I read it and I kind of realised why. So I have had this since like late last year. I love the ACOTAR books. I am a big fan of the series, okay? So I was really excited, so much so that I kept putting this off. I just kept putting it off and putting it off, and it got to the point where I was kind of dreading reading it because I built up such a kind of hype in my head about this book. This is the one that I have notes on, so I'm gonna get my notes up. This book is slightly different from the other ones in the series. It is third person, where the other ones are first person. I much prefer first person. I feel like you kind of get more absorbed in the person that you're reading about, the character. You get to learn more about the character. So in that sense, I do wish that Sarah J. Maas had done this in first person, but I see why she didn't. I understand why. I also did not read the it's like book 3 and 3.5, the like novella in between the third book and this one. I didn't read it. I'm not interested. I don't want to. But I think that one was also third person, so I guess if, for the people who are reading that short book and then reading this, it's not so jarring. But going into this was very jarring because I just wasn't expecting it, and I didn't like it at first. It took me a lot longer to get into this book than any of the other ones in the series. intense, you know, and that's what I was just really craving that. And I think this book focused too much on Nesta, the main female character's physical growth rather than her mental growth, because this whole book is focusing on Nesta and her like PTSD or trauma from the war that happens in book 3. Okay, I'm all for that. I see the redemption arc, I see the character growth potential, but I just don't think it was executed in the way it could have been, and I got frustrated because I wanted so badly to like Nesta, but it wasn't until like the very, very last part of the book that she actually got her moment, and then there was a bunch of other crap that happened and it just overshadowed it. It was no, I feel very strongly that this book wasn't laid out the way it should have. Another bone I have to pick with this book is that Nesta, so the 3 sisters in this book, Farah is the character that the other 3 books focus on. And then there's Nesta and Elaine, so they're 3 sisters. And I really liked Farah. I didn't like completely love her at certain points in the books, but you're not gonna like love a character all the time. But with Nesta, I just got so frustrated because she hates her little sister, which is Farah. She hates her, like, not even. I had to put it down out of anger at certain points in this book, because I get that Nesta is going through a lot. She's got so much baggage and she's got so much she's trying to deal with, which I understand, but at the same time I felt like the hatred towards her younger sister was unnecessary, and it was actually quite like uncomfortable to read it for me at certain points. I just didn't enjoy, and like I didn't understand it as much. I was trying to like see her point of view, but I just couldn't. And I've saw people try to back her up on why she feels this way. I just feel like it was overdone. I don't understand, like, even after finishing. I mean, you do have to persevere through this book to understand it, but I just don't. I still don't, personally. I don't. And the funny thing is she loves her, like the middle sister Elaine. She loves her. She would die for her. I'm just trying to figure out what the Farah done to be so hated. Like, Farah's the one who kept them alive when they were in poverty. She literally was the youngest out of them. Elaine was planting flowers. Nesta was just too angry to do anything with anything. And Farah was the one who was going out and getting the money to keep them all fed. And she hates her. She hates her. I can't wrap my head around it. I feel very passionately about this part of the book, that I just don't agree with it. I don't think it was necessary. Anyway, so I'm gonna read through some of my notes, because that wasn't even me finished now. So I don't know. I don't know. I just was disappointed. That's me finished that Akazar series for the books that have been released. I think the next book is going to be about the third sister, Elaine, which is going to be interesting. I mean, I feel like I don't really know much. Everyone shits on Elaine. Everyone absolutely throws her in the dirt. But I am curious to see what her actual character, if she even has much of a personality, to be honest. I am curious, so I'm excited for the next book. I don't even know when it's going to come out, but yeah. So I am sorry if you're watching this really, really fuming with me because you love this book. Absolutely fair game to you. I mean, to each their own. I just thought it was lacking in a lot of places that it could have been so much better. It had such potential, you know, but oh well. I'm still glad that I'm caught up now, and I suppose I can read that. I can read like the novella if I want to, but I don't think I will because I'm just not interested. I know what happens in it. Okay, so I'm trying to think what the book I read after that was. The next book I read something completely different because there was quite a few fantasy romance books that I wanted to read last month, so I wanted to kind of give myself a break in between. So this is a psychological thriller. This was a very quick read. I think I read this in 2 days and I was working as well one of those days. The Inmate by Frida McFadden, and I was so excited about this book, and you know, it did have me gripped. Like, I was hooked from the minute I started reading this. I wanted to know where it was going. It has a lot of twists and turns. I will admit, it does keep you on the edge of your seat. Do I love this book? No. Do I think it's good for an easy, quick, fun read? Yes. It's not an amazing psychological thriller. A lot of the stuff that happens, I'm like, I didn't necessarily like the main character as well. She makes a lot of interesting choices that I series goes. So I can't wait. I can't wait for that next book to come out. So after I was reeling from the end of A Dance of Fates, I was kind of just like, oh, I don't know what to read. I was craving more fantasy, but I didn't want to kind of throw myself into something new after I read about a whole new world, you know. So I've been wanting to read Haunting Adeline for quite a long time because I've heard so much about it. I know it's a dark romance, I know it's messed up, I'm all for it. So that's what I read next. I read Haunting Adeline by H.D. Carlton. And now, I have mixed feelings about this book, as do most people. Did I enjoy it? Yeah. Did I agree with everything that this book was about? No. But it's interesting. I mean, it's a dark romance, so you kind of know what you're expecting when you go into it. There was this kind of weird other plot that was going on that I found really, really weird. And I mean, this is quite a long book. I'm sure it's like 500 pages or something. Yeah, so this is like 530 odd pages, and I don't know. I don't know that it needed to be that long, to be honest. I'm just trying to wrap my head around this still, because I understand it. I get why people like it. I liked it, but I wouldn't read it again, nor did I want to read the second one. But this is a duet, and I knew before I started reading this book that it was going to be a cliffhanger ending. And even at that, I was reading and I was like, yeah, like I'm just not going to read the second book. Like I'm not that interested in these characters. I'm not that interested in this plot. Like, I love a good, like, possessive, obsessive romance. Like that's what I crave when I go into a dark romance. But this was just a bit, I don't know, just, I don't think it quite hit the spot for me. But even saying that, I still did, when I got to that cliffhanger, I went straight into the second book, even though I didn't want to. But I was just like, I want to know what happens. So I went view because this is a dual point of view. I didn't lean towards liking one person more than the other. I thought they both got like very equal amounts of screen time. And yeah, I just really loved this book, and I loved the world that has been created. A lot of this book too, I will say, when I first started reading it, I was a bit like, oh, I don't remember these characters. So I think I read this in January, the first one. So I will say, if you're planning on reading these, I would read them close together, because this book is very heavy on the war, politics, the rivalry between the houses, and there's a lot of kind of side characters that you need to kind of know what the deal is with them. So yeah, just to keep that in mind. I am really upset though that this is just finished for these characters, because I wasn't expecting that. So that's all the books that I read this month. I also started reading Electra. So that's going to be what I'm going to be diving into next as well. I don't know if you guys like to hear my books I want to read. I don't really have many in mind, to be honest. I bought Caraval the other day as well, so I'll probably read Electra, then maybe Caraval. But I also want to read Iron Flame, which is the second book in the Fourth Wing series. I really want to read that. I've read some good fantasy books this month though, so I'm quite like, I'm craving that, you know. So